talk a little bit about what happens. We all work on combat a lot. We're going to work on what happens before we get into combat, and then a little bit of defense against a sucker punch. But we want to talk about what are some of the things that we can do to maybe avoid the fight. So that's some of the concepts that I want to share with you today. Basically, we call that the ABCs: the awareness, the boundary setting, and then the last one will be the combat. So we're going to touch on all three of those today. When I talk about awareness, I really want you to think of that you're out and about, you're not paranoid about what you're doing, but you have choices about what you're doing. If you're walking down the street and you see something that maybe just doesn't look good up in front of you, some people that might not look like the nicest people, then you have a choice at that point, to walk in a different direction, or, choices about, do you really look in the back seat of your car before you get in? So those kinds of awareness is what I mean by awareness. Knowing what your gut's telling you, if you feel something that doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. And trying to make some choices that helps you avoid those situations. So that's what I mean by awareness. Well, the biggest things that we're going to work on today is boundary settings, and that's really there's three phases to boundary settings. And we talked about the yellow phase, the orange phase, and the red phase, which ends up when you get into combat. And when you there's some things that you can do that will de-escalate a fight or a potential fight, and things that you can do to escalate a fight. Okay, and those are some of the things that we want to try and touch on today that normally we don't talk a lot about in the dojo, but are important concepts that I want to share with you. Basically, there's three modes that you want to think about. Do you want to be passive? Do you want to be aggressive? Or do you want to be assertive? Okay? Which one of those do you think would de-escalate a fight? Assertive. Okay. All right. If I can have Dawn come out here for a second. If somebody is passive, okay, we're going to do just a little scenario to just demonstrate how passiveness can escalate a fight. By passive behavior is going to fuel him, his ego, and he's going to see me more as a target. So I want to try and, at this point, I'm going to pretend to be a passive person, and I'm going to be an easy target.
You looking at my girlfriend over there?
Hey,
huh?
hey.
Sitting around just staring at my girlfriend?
It wasn't me.
Is that it?
No, it wasn't me. Okay, so I was looking down. I wasn't being assertive at all. He took total control of it. He had control all the time. As it went on, he just wants to hit me because I'm being wimpy. Okay, so I don't want to be so passive that somebody wants to smack you just for being passive. Okay, if we go to the other end of the spectrum, where we become assertive.
You looking at my girlfriend?
Yeah, what's it to you?
Huh?
Yeah. And we both end up where, we're going to puff out our chests and we're going to be macho, and that's going to go nowhere except slugging it out. Okay, there's not going to be any verbal compromise when it gets to that situation. And the last one is where we want to be assertive in a situation.
You looking at my girlfriend over there?
Hey, wait a minute, buddy. Whoa. Which one's your girlfriend over there?
The one you're looking at. You see which one?
Which
The one you've been staring at her for half an hour now.
Oh, you mean her right over there?
Yeah, that's her.
Oh, she is a nice-looking lady, but...
Yeah.
See the gal sitting behind her?
Yeah?
That's my girlfriend. That's what I was looking at over there. Let me buy you a beer. I can introduce you to her. We'll be all right. Yeah. Beer sells a lot of beer. Those are the kinds of things you say, okay.
You tell an Indian you got money for beer, you'll steal it all.
I was assertive. I got my hands up, okay. I started setting some boundaries. I didn't let him get too close at the beginning. So those are some of the things that we want to talk about a little bit. When we talk about our boundaries and we talk about an orange alert, think about that as an awareness like when you're driving your car. Okay, you got to watch what's going on. You got to watch the drivers, all the whole environment around you. So you want to be able to scan the environment that's around you and be able to make good decisions. Okay, that's your orange alert. That can keep you out of a lot of trouble. Okay, it's a high percentage, I won't quote a number, but it's a high percentage of situations can be avoided with the right verbal skills and a de-escalating technique. Okay, so your orange alert, yellow alert is just your everyday, kind of like driving the car. Your orange alert would be the next phase up. Okay, we're going to go 3 levels. Right now, this orange alert is where, wait a minute, we were talking and it's not going, and he's still becoming aggressive. Now what I want to try and do is I want to try and take a step back. I want to look at my person. I don't want to stare him down, okay, but I want him to know that I have my hands up, and it's just a situation, it's a kind of our sanchin, but we want to try and keep some distance in between us, okay? And the reason I want to try and keep some distance, if I can, is that if he has to make a move towards me, it's going to give me more time to react. So when we move to the orange alert, we want to try and back up, and we want to try and match some verbal skills that he has that would try and de-escalate the technique. Not be passive, not be aggressive, but be assertive. And what I would suggest, we could make up a bunch of stuff today, but try different things, and because what's going to happen if you start to get shook, if somebody, if you ever get somebody in your face, some people can handle it better than others. Some people freeze up. The majority of attacks on women there isn't any more than a verbal attack. They tell them what to do, and not a very nice way, and the women do it. They don't have to beat them up, they don't have to hold a knife on them, they don't have to do anything. So being able to recognize those and know how to deal with them is really important. So on orange alert, we want to create some distance. We want to try and be assertive, and we want to keep that space. If he's coming at us, if I can start to keep moving, I want to try and keep that distance. Okay, because everybody has their comfort zone. Okay, and it's probably a little different for everybody. If I walk towards somebody and you just naturally stop, you're going to stop at a distance that's probably an arm's length or a little bit more away. You start to get closer and closer, no one feels as comfortable as you do. So those are the kinds of feelings you want to be able to do. And then your distance that you feel comfortable with is a distance that you want to try and keep no matter where that person is going. And he's going to keep yakking at you and giving you a hard time, but you want to try and keep that space, and your return at the orange alert should be very simple. You don't want to get into a big conversation with him because it could escalate it. You want to just start being a broken record. You want to have repeat commands of assertive commands like, leave me alone, back off, I don't know you. And just keep repeating the same thing. Okay, it gives the person a chance to go away. You didn't challenge his ego, you didn't call him a name, you weren't so passive that he wanted to hit you. Okay, it allows you some time to give him the opportunity to back away from the fight. He knows you're not an easy target. He sees you ready. He knows that, well, unless he really wants to go, he's going to go pick an easy target, because they really look for easy targets, so you don't want to be one. So those 2 alerts right there, and knowing how to handle those, can keep you out of the majority of trouble. If you go to the orange alert and it's just not going to stop, and this guy's coming no matter what, then that goes to the red alert. And the red alert is, at this point now, we're in our ready position. Okay. Again, we want to try and keep our distance. This guy's coming. He's probably still woofing at you. What we want to try and do is keep that distance, and when he attacks, that's when we need to have the explosive mindset of whatever, and I don't want to get into, you're going to do technique A, B, and C. Okay, I want you to look in your uechiryu and determine what the power techniques are for you, and use those. We're going to go through some practicing to try and learn how to defend against a sucker punch today. But I don't want to be so scripted. You have to, what he feels is really works for him may not work for somebody else. So I don't want to get into exactly, some things I will say is, I would suggest not hitting with a fist to the face, okay? Too many bone on bone, you can hurt yourself. Open hand palm strikes, it's a good way to go. Try and stick to the simple stuff. Gross motor skills, straight on strikes, knee strikes, elbow strikes, are things that you're going to be able to pull off no matter how shook up you get. If the adrenaline really starts to flow, lots of things leave the brain. The blood goes away. You can't think, you can't remember a lot of stuff. A lot of people blank out and can't handle it, so they freeze up. So you want to practice some of these things. When you practice a series of moves that you feel are your power strokes, and you do some of these scenarios, and if you can practice them, you get a partner and somebody that will really start to woof and get in your face, it will, as much as it seems silly to do it, it feels pretty real when it starts to happen, and your brain all of a sudden can't tell the difference between it's made up and it's real. So you'll start to get that rush a little bit, and you got to deal with it. What I'd say now, when you get into the combat mode, you really want to, especially if you're starting to get juiced up, you want to practice that in slow motion. So you want to keep it slow. I would even suggest verbalizing the move that you're going to do. If you're going to hit somebody with a palm heel strike, say palm heel strike. Okay, it will help reinforce that technique in your brain. It will also make it so you don't hold your breath. The worst thing that can happen is you hold your breath, and you're not going to last very long. So the first thing we want to do, I want everybody to grab themselves a partner, and we're going to work a little bit on how to defend against a sucker punch. So I need everybody to stand up and grab a partner. Off to this side, more than likely, this is going to be the sucker punch coming this way. If you're off on this side, it's more than likely going to be the overhand right strike. Okay, the people out on the street, they don't have a whole lot of techniques. They got a couple of big punches that they throw in there, and that's what they're going to try and whack you with. So what happens if we're kind of offset over this way, the majority of people are right-handed, so we'll work in that mode. What I want you to do is just have your hands by your side, just relax, and I want you to look at this person, and I want you to see what moves his body has to make for him to throw this punch. Okay, so just do it slow. Okay, because no one can just not make some kind of a move to get ready to throw that punch. So I want you to try and visualize that, because that's going to be an important key to having a preemptive attack. Because once he's moved towards you, you've told him to back off, you told him to stay away, multiple times, he starts making a move towards you. That's it, it's on. Okay, so at that point is when I need to have this explosive defensive movement. But what I want you to do first is identify, try and get used to looking for when that person's going to start to clench his fist and bring it up. And everybody might do it a little different, so just kind of do what comes natural to you, and just stand there and do it slow, and just kind of watch the person and what's going to be happening. Okay, just practice that back and forth a few times, and then we'll take it to the next level. So just all right, so we've created some distance. Okay, this will work whether we're in close. I'd suggest that if you practice this, depending on how much time we have today, first we'll start farther away, but you can start to work closer and closer if you need to, because sometimes you might be into that thing. Check your alignment now, because what I want you to do is take this slow. Okay, don't do a full speed attack. Kind of get in your ready position. You've told the guy to stay away or whatever. Okay. As soon as you see him start to make his move, what I want you to do is come in at this point. Okay, but I want you to come in. I want you to just take your arms. You're basically in San Chin. All right. I want you to step in, and also I want you to duck. Okay, a lot of power. There's a lot of power coming in this punch, and even if I duck in here, it still might come. But I've taken a lot out of it. Okay, now you can be up here on the arm. Okay, I like kind of getting the shoulder or the muscle and the arm. And the biggest thing is getting in close. Okay, I want to try and, because all the power of that punch is out here. Okay, so I can be here, but guess what? This one's going to be coming. Okay, or if I get in here, all right, we'll get to this one coming in a minute. The 1-2 punch. Okay, but first I just want you to get into just a simple move of, you know, what we've all practiced this in the dojo. Okay, so we're kind of going off at the angle, and we're putting our arms up. Okay, nothing more than that at this point. And duck the head. Now we're not doing our traditional, you know, where I'm standing here now. I want to try and get in. I want to get in and even have your head right in close to their chest, because that's going to make it even harder for them to hit you at that point. And then at that point, after you practice that a few times, we're going to follow up with what kind of striking techniques you want. I'll suggest a couple. You can do whatever you want. And then we'll talk about if this next punch is going to be coming and how we want to deal with that. Okay, so grab your partner and try that. As you can see, that move in, it's pretty powerful. It doesn't take a lot. You know, your hands are here. It's not like you can do something quick. I would suggest too that if you want to practice this, that you can also try and practice it with your hands down at your side. You may not even have the chance to get your hands up here. Okay. So again, just, you know, we all do this. Okay, and I'm not saying too much different than that. Just a little different timing. I mean, it's a little different timing on how we do our traditional blocks. Okay, once we've got in here now, and he throws a punch, and I'm in here, and I've ducked in, now what? Okay, well, I would try and slide right down the arm, bam, palm heel strike. Okay? Or what I want you to do is feel what's comfortable for you. If you feel like you want to elbow, right? That's good. Or if you feel like, you know, you want to elbow in here, but then after you hit him once with a one head strike, whatever one, or a body strike, whatever one you feel comfortable with, then I want you to follow up, you know, with some kind of a knee strike, whether it's whatever leg is back. Okay, I don't care if you're going for the groin or if you're going for the outside of the leg, ribs. You know, pick which one that feels. It's not so much where it is. You're going to do damage no matter where you pick that, but you want to have a lot of power. And the other concept that's really important is once you start to practice this and you can add speed to it, you need to think this is a continuous motion of non-stop. You have to almost be like a volcano. When I'm here and he does this move, okay, I can't have any doubt in what I'm going to do at this point. I mean, I'm here and he's coming in. Now that's where I need to explode. Full blast, okay, same thing. Then from here, wham, wham, until he's down. You just have to keep going. So what I want you to do is look for the things that feel comfortable for you. The only thing that I would suggest is not hitting the head with a fist, okay? Yeah, if you make a fist, you create tension in the arm. You can't hit as fast, okay? I can hit with the heel of my hand all day long. I'm probably not going to hurt it too bad, even against Dawn's hard head. So, but I want to, you know, then follow up with a real power knee strike. You know, we all do our knee strikes in Seisan, that stabbing knee. You know, try to find a nice spot for one of those. You know, again, now you're in your uechiryu territory in here. You know, now we can be grabbing, pulling, dropping the elbows in. I mean, use the things that you feel give you a lot of strength. But bring your uechiryu into it at this point. Now you're in, grab, knee, elbow, pulling. So try some of those things. Grab your partner and work on those. what happens lots of times is that it may not, this is just may be the setup for the next one coming down the pike. So if I'm in here one, all right, what's going to happen, okay, if he's going to punch me with this arm, this one's going to start to pull back. There's no way he's going to just leave that arm out there. I mean, someone's going to hit, they're going to pull back. All right, so as soon as I start to feel that pull back, I got to check that shoulder. Okay, I got to check that shoulder. And then, bam, bam, same kind of techniques that's going on. But you got to realize that this is some feel that's going to happen here. If this starts to happen, bam. All right, I want to take that shoulder out. Okay, now there's some things that you can do. If you think you're strong enough to block the punch, block the punch here with one arm. All right, there's some things that you can do to start to do that when you come in. Bam, all right, and you're putting that elbow up. Okay, and I'm kind of blocking, checking that at the same time. Okay, this is some of the things that you can try. Some of you might not feel comfortable with it. You may need both arms. If you need the both arms, then you got to really make sure this one, when this one pulls back, this one checks. Okay, if you think you're comfortable with that, you can start to work elbows or palm heel strikes right off the bat to attack that shoulder, so that it's not the 1-2. I mean, it could be a grab. I mean, he could grab you here, and the same kind of thing. Bam. It's the same theory, but I'm working on the inside. Okay, when you're on the inside, it's more dangerous. I mean, in uechiryu, I always like to get out here. You know, because there's not all these things we have to deal with. Okay, but if I get inside here, and that's where the sucker punch is going to get you, on the inside, you got to deal with this back here. So try a couple of those and see what feels comfortable with you and work on those.
Did you see that?
Suggestions we won't do it here today, but if you practice these things, try and take some verbal scenarios into them. Okay, where you try different things to de-escalate a person, and you can make up a million, and you'll probably never duplicate anything that's going to be out on the street. But what you need to do is to be able to get comfortable with responding in an assertive way. Okay, so that's the thing that I would suggest that you can practice. And if you can get good at that, you can make a lot of things go away, and it'll never get to the combat mode, and that's really where we want to be. We'll work a little bit if we get to the outside. Now, I talked about our alignment, and if I'm over here, that's going to have a tendency to draw that sucker punch. But if I'm over here, it's have a tendency to come with the overhand strike. Or if he comes with the sucker punch, it still works. Okay, but basically he's coming with the overhand strike. Bam. Okay. Now we went to the inside before. Now I want to go to the outside. So when he's coming in here, all right. I want to be right here now. It's that same move. I'm just moving off to a different direction. Wham. Wham, okay, and the same kind of follow-ups that you felt comfortable with before will work here. Okay, so look for your power techniques and figure out how to throw them. But again, it's the same thing. Once you see him start to move, have the person, do that thing. You're gonna see that that he can't just instantly throw that punch. There has to be some movement that happens. So once you see that, then you want to get out here. Same kind of move. Bam, okay. This one could come, but I'm kind of in. If I'm out here, that one can definitely come. All right. That's why I want to try and get in. All right. Now I'm in here. Yeah, I can start to really come with some of the bigger techniques. So try that now. Moving to the outside.
See what I did? I know. See how fast I got that out? When he comes out in the piece,
Again, as you practice these, some of the important concepts is get used to the verbalization of the battle. Okay, not anybody's just going to come up to you and go. And that's how a fight starts. There's going to be some kind of exchange that's not very pleasant. They're usually doing it to try and take you off guard, try and get you to freeze, take control of the situation. Okay, recognize that, deal with that. Okay, that's one of the most important things I can leave with you. It's great to have all these techniques, but if you fall apart before you had a chance to not make it happen, you want to be able to avoid it at all costs, because anytime you enter the battle, there's a good chance that you want to come out the victor, and we work hard to do that, but you're taking your chances. So anytime you can avoid a conflict, you want to do it. And the more realism that you can add into these scenarios when you do it, whether you find somebody that's willing to practice it with you, the better off you're going to be. You're going to be able to feel more comfortable with the rush of somebody. I mean, we didn't get into a lot of the, whooping at somebody. And they call it a woof basically because when a dog barks and a dog woofs at you, I mean, they're doing it to instill fear in you. Okay, so that's where that name came from. The bad guy's going to woof at you, to try and get you, when a dog barks and everybody, gets scared of it and backs up. Well, it's the same thing the bad guy's going to do. So something that's normally not practiced in the dojo, but I would suggest, if you have somebody that's willing to practice with you, add that verbal component into these stages before the combat, and then look for your power techniques in your uechiryu that you all know and practice every day. We have still yet a couple minutes. Yes, sir. Okay. Let's do a quick where somebody would come and grab you from behind. There's some of these techniques too that if you want to do, I mean, this one will work for overhead strike that we were practicing. Some of the drills that I like to do is that you have a person stand with their eyes closed. This will help get some of the adrenaline response going. You have as many people as you have in the dojo line up. Just kind of being, in a normal stance, not in any fighting stance or anything. Have the people get, 3-4 feet away. The eyes are closed. As soon as they yell or ki or whatever, then they're coming in with a random technique, whether it's an overhead club strike, a knife technique we use, the roundhouse punch, the hook, sucker punch, or the straight punch. Okay, and those techniques, and then you have to react. Okay, you don't know what's coming. You've opened your eyes. It's this shock that's happening. It's a good way to practice it, but practice it in slow motion. Okay, because you're going to get charged up, and it's really easy to hit somebody mistakenly. So those are some drills that you can try and do to try and get the shock factor into being able to respond with some of these techniques. So I would suggest doing some of those if you can. At the next step after that, I would work where you have a person in the middle. You try and have several persons circle around that person. They all have a set technique. Okay, I would tell everybody, okay, you're going to do the hook punch and you're going to attack with a knife and you got a club, and I would give everyone in that around in that circle a number, and then I put a person in the middle. And again, practice it slow. I'd call out a number, and those people are attacking. Okay, and as you start to become more comfortable, you know, you can call out two numbers, you know, or two numbers pretty quickly, one right after another. So again, that's to get the flinch response working a little better. So I would suggest working on some of those kinds of drills. Really helps build that quick reaction, and you're gonna find out what some of the things that work for you and what won't work for you in a hurry. So again, practice it slow. You know, if you have suits or padding or whatever, and you can have any of that kind of stuff that would help you add a little more realism to it, that's great. That will help a lot. The ultimate would be, you know, if you can ever go to any place where they have the bullet men, you know, the guys with the full body armor, and you can practice your full power shots on these bullet men during these attacks. They're trained to learn how to attack you and really give you a good whoop. I would suggest, you know, if you have a chance to do that, get there and give it a try, because that's the ultimate part of this training. So kind of giving you a lot of the stuff that you would do to get ready to have the, you know, before you fight the bullet man in one of those situations. We got a couple minutes. Just quick, we'll do one where if someone would grab you from behind, okay? And typically, you know, he's being very nice at this point. Typically, somebody's gonna grab you pretty hard, you know, and they're gonna pick you up or try and do whatever. I don't want to try and let it get to this situation if I can. As soon as I start to feel somebody get their arms around me, I want to step forward, just almost like when we're doing in our science. I want to step forward and I want to put my arms out, okay, just like if we're opening in our san chin. All right, that's going to help break the grip. At this point here, I can start the rear attacking it into the groin, okay. So I'd want to do a couple of real good hits, palm heel strikes back to the groin, and then I want to come here, bam, big elbow. All right, and then I want to start coming around, doing whatever I have to do to take care of them. Okay, but as soon as you start to feel the grab, you should step out, say something, say no, or whatever, if you ki or whatever you do to break that hold, get to the side, start whacking back to the groin, wham, follow up with a good elbow, and then get around the person and keep going. This is where you have to be a volcano. You have to have total 120% commitment and eruption of your technique at that point, and you don't stop. You're a buzzsaw until the situation's done. So don't stop. That's one of the biggest things too. And you know, we can have 1,000,001 techniques, but we only need a few that work when we need them. So you know, the most important thing is to have the heart to carry out what you need to do and get it done. So really, you know, it's another important concept. You know, when we have that in our kata, you know, now we want to take that into this type of situation. You know, our san chin mindset. We want to have that explosive technique. So try that bear hug from behind, where you're just stepping out. You know, if they pick you up, you know, they're gonna at some point they're gonna have to put me down. You know, you can't hold me forever. You know, you can start kicking if you have to. You can start hitting even if they have pick you up. But you know, try that. But the most important thing is get the arms out, wham, start slamming back to the groin, and try that elbow strike. Those are real two good moves right there. So give that a try quick, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Is this move?
Yeah.
Feel comfortable with that, you know, when they grab you?
If I feel like I'm very close enough, if I can
Before I get the whole crap, I'm going to step away.
One big quick. Okay, I just Bruce Sensei reminded me of something that was important. If somebody's grabbing you, and there's no way that you can break out of this, I mean, they're picking you up or whatever, okay? I guarantee you hit this part of their hand right here,
Yeah.
okay? It doesn't take much, they're gonna let go. All right, so I would use this, this center knuckle, whack into these small bones in the back of the hand. If you try it on each other, do it gently, but they're not gonna be able to